Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Young Justice Review, brought to you by Nerdblaze. My name is Coby. Joined in these reviews, as always, is my partner, Jeff. Jeff, say hello.
Hello.
And with us, as always, on these reviews is our special guest, Jake from Anime Dumpster Dive. Jake, how you doing today?
Good. Am I a guest still? Am I a special guest when I'm on this?
I was trying to be nice to you and call you a special guest, but if you want to be downgraded to just guest, I can make that happen.
Okay,
regular guest.
Regular guest.
Now that's what's going to happen. You're just the guest now.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Forager is unhappy with this.
Forager is unhappy. I doubt that because Forager is happy about everything.
Forager don't give a fuck.
Does not.
Please put that on a shirt. Forager don't give a fuck, and then just have his smiling face.
We'll make millions.
We'll make millions of dollars. We're here today to talk about the latest 3 episodes of Young Justice Season 3, Evolution, Triptych, and Home Fires. You guys ready to dive into these? Dang it, I said dive again. I did it again.
You should have used our patented intro, let's justice into this.
You guys ready to justice into these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready to justice.
So, the first episode that comes back to episode 7, Evolution. And guys, it introduces a new hero to the mix. It introduces Vandal Savage, protector of the universe. And I think that's great because personally, Vandal Savage is one of my favorite DC villains. I love everything about him. So to have this episode totally kind of framed around him was great. What do you guys think of Vandal?
I was really interested in his story, to be honest with you, but I kind of questioned the pacing of the episode overall because they were telling this story, Vandal Savage's story, alongside the story of the new team coming up in the world. And those two things side by side felt kind of odd to me. I don't know if you guys felt that way as well, but that's how I felt. And it's kind of a theme of the next 3 episodes that we discussed is just the way these episodes told their stories was just kind of weird. It didn't feel like it flowed right.
It felt like this whole first episode could have been totally devoted to Vandal Savage because these 3 episodes are really about the team training. Like I think the team trains in in all 3 of these, I think. And if you cut it out of this one, and like we're really all they do is pick their names, then and just focus it completely on Vandal Savage, then I think it would have been a little stronger. But I guess I like the little bit of breaks away from Vandal to see how the kind of the lighter training side of everyone choosing their names and the ribbing of that. Jake, what'd you think?
I have never really enjoyed Vandal Savage as a villain.
You're wrong.
I know I'm wrong. You've told me this numerous times, which when I started this episode, I was like, Kobe's going to love this episode. Because it actually made me appreciate Vandal Savage. I liked it. I always thought that he was just like this, I don't know. He never gained my interest. But after this episode,
he could be one note if not done correctly.
Yeah. But this episode really made him seem like great and like very like one of the most interesting characters in the Young Justice universe. That being said, I thought like a lot of his backstory kind of had like weird tie-ins for like no reason. Kind of like having his like son be Nobu.
Yes, but yeah.
And then his first 2 kids, like the ones that when he's Attila Hun fighting off Darkseid.
Genghis Khan, sorry. They look like and have the same color scheme as like a hawk and dove pair. I thought they were more like remember that Teen Titans episode Thunder and Lightning?
They did look
like
yeah.
But either way, I guess they didn't have enough story devoted to them to find out exactly who they were.
Yeah. And so like again, I liked the episode overall. I just thought like little things like kind of like little nods to the audience weren't needed. Like they could have just had like his son be somebody random and died, but no, they made him like Nobu unless that plays a part later on. Because we did have that scene with Dr. Fate earlier in the season, so maybe it might play a part.
It's Young Justice's tendency because like there's a lot of instances in this one and even last episode when they just wheeled out Damian Wayne, for like no reason whatsoever, and they insert Naboo here. Something they did at the beginning of this episode was like mention, football player Victor Stone,
yep,
he's going to go far. Who Jeff, if Victor Stone is turns, he turns into
cyborg,
cyborg.
Right?
Yeah, he turns into cyborg. So I don't know if that's like a just another cramming Easter egg thing in, or if they have something planned for him down the line. But so that's why I'm hoping the Naboo thing comes into play. And that's a good point, Jake, that you brought up about how they had it in the episode before where that could have been really any scene. So hopefully they have a plan for it. But the problem with that is that they have so many balls in the air that I don't know what they're going to have time to devote to. But so and the framing device around Vandal Savage's backstory, I think I liked it because it was kind of a new way to do it. Like, it could have just had Vandal Savage sitting there and like, just like remembering things.
Like every Vandal Savage backstory and like other media.
Because he has to explain it to people. But this time it's his daughter, Cassandra, and she's reading a diary recounting his history that was written by this older woman who's also in the thing. And she's a little out of it for a lot of the episode because she keeps saying, "Did you get to the part about the bear?" Which was awesome, by the way.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's my favorite part. And it details how Savage became immortal. Like, he saw the meteor come down. He was determined to chase after it. A lot of dead carcasses were in its way, but he's like, no, I'm going to go see it. And then by touching the meteor, he evolved into this immortal being, and by sleeping by it and absorbing its radiation. But what's interesting about the backstory is that it's not just it's juxtaposed with the modern day, where Vandal Savage is facing an armada of aliens, and they're attacking Earth, and nobody is left to stop them because Vandal Savage he calls up his buddy Lex Luthor. He's like, "Hey, old friend, how you doing?" And they're like, "An alien's coming." They're like, "Can the Justice League help?" It's like, "No, because we kind of have them all tied up doing our own nefarious plots. Can we do this?" Like, "Oh, we can't do that either." And the Vandal Savage is like, "Fine, I guess I'll just do it myself." And he gets into War World, which even though I totally forgot he had. I forgot that he drove off with it at the end of the second season. So that was like, oh yeah, he has that big hulking weapon, and he's facing down this armada, and while he's facing it down, he gets these. His daughter goes through his periods of time. Most specifically, we get probably the most important element of that is that Darkseid has come to Earth before, driving vehicles with just his giant head on it. And I'm like, if you had...
That's branding, baby.
Yeah, if you were a dictator of an army, would you have your own face on top of your ships?
Well, I'm not a menacing guy like Darkseid, so like I think my ships would have like the counter effect where they'd be like, "Oh, all right, that guy's got a goofy smile, but whatever."
Yeah. It'd be like, "Oh, there's a bunch of Jakes coming my way." That'd be a little weird. But he comes down to Earth in like the 13th century when Vandal Savage was masquerading as Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan's army gets obliterated, but Darkseid kind of respects Vandal Savage and his just this human being who just can't die, and Darkseid also takes an interest in the human metagenes, the metahumans there. So they form a partnership that. And really the takeaway from that is that Vandal Savage forms the light, and the light has been around forever. Well, not forever, for at least all that time. Did we know that about the light? I forgot. Or has the light always been this mysterious?
I don't think so. I think this was basically our first glimpse at the light's origin story, and I guess it also sets up their motivation, which is basically Vandal Savage's motivation to have humanity and, I guess, Darkseid be the last one standing in the entire galaxy. So that's kind of cool.
And what I liked about that is that how both sides know that whoever's the last one standing, there's going to be an all-out war. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was also a mention of, was it in this episode that they talked about the anti-life something serum? Yeah,
the anti-life equation. When Darkseid came down, he's like, "This is humans interesting." And then like one of his lackeys, his henchman, was just like, "These could be good fodder for the anti-life equation." And Darkseid's like, "Yeah, sure." And you know what, Jake? I like Darkseid a whole lot, but I never know what the anti-life equation is. Do you know?
Damn it! I was really hoping you'd explain it because
I see every time Darkseid appears on any sort of media, that's all he's raving about, the anti-life equation, and I don't know what it is.
Like here's part of my hidden shame here. For a while, I always thought the anti-life equation was the omega, like his freaking eye beams, which are like the omega rays or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So like when that finally got revealed, when I finally learned that's not what they were called, I have no idea.
Well, guys, I am to the rescue. I actually know what the anti-life equation is.
All right, let us know.
It's basically a formula for controlling the minds of sentient beings.
So he wants to control life everywhere. Well, that's pretty straightforward.
Everywhere.
Wow.
Good for you,
Good
Jeff.
save, Jeff.
Yeah, dude, I know my comic book lore. I don't Google everything
Google
that I don't know.
while we're talking and know about it beforehand.
That's in my old noggin. That's
Sounds pretty
an original
suspicious.
thought. It does sound suspicious. I can see why it would sound suspicious.
So Vandal Savage is facing down this armada of aliens that aren't responding to calls and aren't responding to the power of Warworld. So he's forced to call on Darkseid, which is like the second time we've heard him speak in the show. And it's funny when he calls him, like his back's turned, like he wasn't like expecting a call. Like, oh, hello there.
His back's always conveniently placed behind the camera.
Yeah, behind the camera that he has to turn to. That would be totally a Darkseid thing to do. It's like make all my calls where first I'm standing behind. So then it's like, I guess you're there. I didn't see you there.
It's a power move. It's kind of like, oh yeah, he's giving you his time. You have to. He is deigning to turn around and talk to you, so you must respect him, kind of thing.
I hope if he lands on Earth and like his ship lands down and the doors open up, that he's still standing behind, like backside, and then he turns around to like faces the heroes. I think that'd be great.
He lands backwards.
Yeah, he lands backwards. So he has to call on Darkseid, and Darkseid's like, I guess I'll help to protect our interests. And he dispatches his own crew of Armada that comes and targets this encroaching alien force. One of the dead bodies that they blow out of the sky lands in front of Vandal Savage's ship, and he notices it has a weird star creature on his face, who is, of course, Starro, a DC villain that's a big giant star that brainwashes a ton of people. And luckily Vandal Savage has faced this being before, and he knows exactly what to do. So he takes his own ship, gives Cassandra control of Warworld, and flies off on his own to fight the big ass starfish with a sword. Like, that's pretty ballsy, I would imagine. I would go in at least with like a laser gun. I mean, like, or something.
He has the technology.
He does, but he decides to go medieval on its ass and sort it up. It's I like the juxtaposition between like Cassandra learning about how Vandal Savage defeated it in days of old versus how he's doing it now. I thought that was cool. And then he does it. He conquers them, and he gets back to his ship. The old woman's just like, I can't wait to document this whole thing. And Vandal Savage is like, I told you I don't want it documented. I don't know why I let you write a whole freaking book about me first
and give it to Cassandra.
Give it to your daughter. Like, I was really in the zone about this Starro thing. Like, I had no idea. So he finds out that this old woman is also his daughter, but he quickly snaps her neck, and that is is this the second neck snap of Young Justice so far? Well, was there one more?
Are you counting Halos?
Yeah, Halos.
Then I think it's only 2.
Okay, just a good next. That's a good way to go, I guess. So that's Vandal Savage backstory. Did you guys? So I guess we already talked about how you feel about. Any other things to say about his storyline here?
I liked that he basically Lennied Olivia, where he gave her basically tell me your happiest thought, and then killed her, because like that's a big thing too. Is Vandal Savage is like seen as ruthless, but like you can tell that he does have some feelings towards his own bloodline. So like he does respect like Cassandra enough to give her like command over Warworld, and like Olivia enough to give her a mercy killing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting because it seemed like they were kind of painting Vandal Savage in kind of, I don't know if sympathetic light is the best way to put it, but they definitely painted him as more than a villain. He was actually kind of heroic, in a way, like
he saved
from the very
Earth.
beginning. Yeah, I mean, his goal is to protect humanity and to protect Earth, and of course, the ultimate goal is. But they keep repeating this line like, "Don't waste human life because it can be used for a greater good," or something like that. So it's kind of like it's kind of good, but it's kind of evil. You know what I'm saying? And then at the very end, when he just sort of like snaps that his own daughter's neck, because Olympia was one of his daughters too, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so like he just snaps his own daughter's neck. It's just kind of like, oh nope, yep, he's a bad guy.
Well, I saw that
so you know.
because that's what he's saying. It's like, don't do this. You value human life. You save it. So him doing it, I think Jake mentioned, is like a mercy kill. So it shows that he's violating his code for his daughter, for someone that he loves, which I thought made him a little more deep.
I thought it was more like he killed her because she had nothing left to give, because she was going clearly. I think it was
That's probably
clear
more
that she was
right.
going insane, right?
Yeah, that's
like
probably
she
more
like
right.
he killed her because she disobeyed his orders, one, and also she kept repeating, "Did you get to the part about the bear yet? Did you get to the part about the bear yet?" Kind of implying that maybe she's getting dementia or something. So yeah, he just killed her because she had no more use. And Cassandra, the other daughter, was pretty clearly terrified at this. Like,
Yeah.
he's willing to kill his own blood when they've outlived their use, which is why they keep repeating that line, you know, don't waste human life because it can be used for something. But if it can't be used for something, it's not a waste. So killing is fine in that sense.
Killing is fine. Jake, anything there?
Nope. I can see it both ways.
All right, and then so the other part of the episode that we talked about is that they're training even more so, which it's a double-edged sword, because I said in the previous episodes, it's like, man, it's like these guys are so. I didn't like how they just charged into battle like without any training whatsoever. But now I'm kind of mad that it's like, man, we see so much of their training. I'm like, I understand, I can't have it both ways. But this training part of the episode, they're choosing their names. Violet chooses Halo, duh. Forager chooses Forager, duh. And then Prince Breon chooses Hot Lava. And honestly,
laugh track.
They laughed at that name, but I wouldn't mind Hot Lava. Like, even just like Lava, like even Hot Lava, I kind of like that better than Geoforce, to be honest with you.
I like Geoforce. I like the name.
Geoforce. I thought it was funny that they kind of explained, like, you know, we're using code names because, you know, we got to protect our identity. And everyone's, you know, Violet chooses Halo, Geoforce, and all that. And it gets to Forager. And Forager's like, yeah, Forager is Forager. They're like, all right, that's fine. And in my head, I'm like, I guess they don't give a fuck about his secret identity. I mean, I know he's an alien and all that, but I just think it's funny that they just totally accepted that he doesn't have a code name, you know?
I don't think, well, sure, but what secret identity is he going to have? He's not going to be like a Steve Johnson who lives like in a suburban household somewhere that's like mild-mannered. This dude is actually a giant bug from New Genesis.
Well, I mean, considering Forager is like the main one that kind of needs a secret identity. He has hits out on him.
He doesn't know that
just
at
a couple
the time.
episodes later, someone is sent out to assassinate him for some reason.
Well, I mean, like,
yeah,
people are
there,
trying to kill him. Like, we have Miss Martian's brothers trying to kill him. He's not allowed back on his home world because people will kill him. Forager should have a secret identity.
Totally agree.
Okay, but Forager is even just a dumb. I think Forager should be his real name, and he should have an actual superhero name, because Forager doesn't strike fear in the hearts of enemies anywhere.
We'll call him Roly Poly.
That's
Roly-poly.
Roly-poly's here, guys. So yeah, they all got to choose their names, and they're training a bit more. What happened? Oh yeah, Halo discovers she has a new power. She unlocks her green power, which I said last week would allow her to spit poison. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and she just duplicates herself. Cool. We've unlocked a new color. But the most important part of the episode is Black Lightning and Dr. Chase go on a date.
I know.
Oh boy.
And they got busy.
And they got busy.
Indeed. Yeah, the sexual references continue. I think strippers were mentioned during the naming of the superhero names. I think Tigress mentioned that Hot Lava sounded like a stripper name, and Dick was like, well, that's funny coming from someone named Tigress.
And then he does like weird cat noises.
Yeah, I don't know. And then there's that whole, you know, scene with Jess and Black Lightning getting it on in the hotel room, or implications of that scene. But anyways, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys feel about all this stuff? Because like I think in the past, like with the brutal killings of the many brutal killings of Halo, I'm fine with that. But like the kind of sexual innuendo stuff, I don't know why it doesn't feel right. Is it because it came from a show from Cartoon Network, and so I kind of expect that it's still kind of in that realm of maturity? Or Or am I just, I don't know.
It's just, it goes back to, I never thought on Cartoon Network they let a lot of stuff slide. Like maybe that's a bad thing for the show, because I was young when season 1 first aired, and there was a line that still sticks out to me is when they're in like the Arctic, and Artemis, and they have like really tight suits on, and Artemis says like, "This is just like being naked, and not in the fun way." And I'm like, whoa, what is this line?
So I guess it's always been like that.
Yeah. So I guess it's a little. It's not a. It doesn't have to slide it by really quick. I mean, these are adults doing adult things. I mean, an attractive, buff people, I guess, then people their age would make sexual innuendos sometimes. I don't mind it, Jake.
I don't. Again, like even in the comics, like this age group is like hypersexual. Like they have a team with Nightwing on it. I'm surprised we haven't seen Nightwing like pseudo naked yet. Like that's like his MO in the comics, is that he hooks up with like hot superpowered girls. And so like nothing like different for me. I feel like I don't really like hang up on that part either. Like I guess like I'm like, oh, I was actually a little worried at one point when they were like about to go into the room. I went, now that they can do more mature stuff, I really hope I don't see cartoon sex. Like that would be weird. That was my main.
It's just they devote like 3 minutes to like a
softcore cartoon pornography.
Yeah, it's like a Top Gun, take my breath away. Like that'd be really weird.
I honestly feared that part. I will take the implication over seeing anything.
Over seeing it. But I guess the weird thing is this whole Jefferson and Dr. Jace relationship. Why are they doing it is my question. My only explanation is that Dr. Jace has to be bad.
Possibly. I don't know. I think they just need to give Black Lightning something to do.
There.
And I guess a relationship is the best thing for him right now. I don't know.
It's a classic TV show trope. If they don't have a character to do anything, put them in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't give a fuck about what's going on between them. Like, I don't know. Every time it cuts to them, it's just boring, waste of time. Don't want to see it. Don't care. Because it doesn't seem like, I don't know, these characters, first of all, aren't very interesting to me. And second of all, it's just, scenes of them talking. I just don't care about it.
About the responsibility they all share. It's like, yeah, kind of lame. I want time devoted elsewhere.
It's like weird. More Vandal Savage. It's like first season, some of these conversations, yeah. But 3 seasons into hearing about how people with powers have responsibilities, it's getting old.
Yeah. All right. So that's Evolution. Overall, I would say I really love the Vandal Savage part of it. The training parts were just okay, but the whole Vandal Savage aspect of it really made it really enjoyable for me. But final thoughts on this episode?
7 out of 10.
I'll give it a 6.
6 out of 10. So this next episode, Trip Tech, it might be. It's a really fascinating episode of Young Justice, and it's difficult to tackle because really this episode is 3 separate stories. Apparently at first, there's stories told by like Nightwing, Robin, and Aqualad, and like so first off, it's Nightwing coming home to Barbara about him and his team, and his team confronted it's really the Young Justice team or the Outsiders team, and how they confronted Cheshire, Shade, Mist, and Livewire for information regarding the League of Shadows. So Cheshire's there, and that's great. We get to see her. I wasn't sure if we were going to see her again, but her presence, I think, is always a little bit welcome. I like this version of Shade.
Yes.
I just remember him a lot from Justice League, because he was like a good side villain to always have in a lot of episodes. But I don't know much about his comic origins. But overall, I think he was a cool villain at this stage.
I really like Shade and Livewire's designs. Like they were really I really like those. Like I think I kept saying it every time they popped up. I'm like, I just really like how they look. And then we get a comic accurate Shade like at the end of the episode, and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, with the hat on. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, this is that guy from the thing, but it's like my visual of him is always just the top hat. So that was a cool reveal at the end. But basically, they go there. Nightwing goes there for information about the League of Shadows, and Cheshire claims that they're currently operating out of Santa Prisca before escaping with everybody. And Jake, I really liked your theory from last week that Deathstroke is running the League of Shadows, but Santa Prisca, I believe, has something to do with Bane. So could Bane possibly be running the League of Shadows?
Oh darn! I'm like, whenever he said that, I was like, all right, that divulges nothing to me.
So. Yeah, Santa Prisca. But yeah, I think that's it's not the prison, but I think that's where Bane was born. So, which is a bummer. If Bane is running the League of Shadows, I'd be a little disappointed because I remember Bane from the first season, and I wasn't as interested in this version of Bane very much.
Yeah, he's not as he wouldn't be as cool as Deathstroke because, like, again, as we've said before, Young Justice has done a good job of like making like Deathstroke interesting in it.
Mm-hmm. So that's the first story that's happening, and then the story cuts to this time it's Robin, Tim Drake version of Robin's reporting to Batman, and it's about how their adventure together. And this was a cool team, I think, because I like it was Robin, Arrowette, Spoiler, and I had to look at Orphan. I don't know who Orphan is.
No idea.
But they were cool. They were tracking Jervis Tetch, who in the comics is all about mind control, but he was in jail, but he got out. But terms of his parole is don't wear hats because he uses those hats to control people. So they're following Jervis Tetch, and they realize, hey, this guy's drinking like a lot of water. Like, that's kind of weird, right? And it turns out it's not Jervis Tetch, it's Clayface in disguise. And Orphan just like slices him in half because, and they're like, you knew that was him, right? She's like, yeah, sure, I knew that. And I'm not entirely so sure. But they track down the real Jervis Tetch, who's operating on this young bald man who we don't know who this is, and he's experimenting on. Cool fights all around this section of the story. What'd you guys think?
Are these all like sidekicks of Batman in the comics? The ones that are a part of this new Robin's team?
I think I don't know about Orphan. I don't know where Orphan comes. And Arrowette, I would imagine, is Green Arrow's sidekick, but I think Spoiler is, right.
Yeah. Well, kinda. Spoiler is Stephanie Brown, who eventually becomes a Robin. But before that, she was Spoiler, and I think she kind of worked just as like a vigilante, like not. She wasn't like a Batman ward initially, but then she eventually did join Batman in that sense.
So this is Batman Incorporated that he was talking about an episode ago. So the first story was about Dick and the Outsiders. The second story is about Batman and Batman Incorporated. The third episode has Kaldor in it. Jeff, they heard your cries. They brought Kaldor back.
Yes, I know, and you know what? I don't like his new outfit, so take him back. You know what? I don't want to see him. Take him away.
It
it's
has
fine.
a really high collar. Like I don't really like the Atlantean armor. Like I liked it when he was just bare bones it. You know?
Yeah, I loved his old outfit. It was simple, it was clean. It just looked awesome. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it makes him look really thin. Like it kind of covers half his body. And so like it's kind of a separate color from his actual skin tone, so it kind of makes him look like the armor part is kind of part of the background sometimes, and so it looks like he's a thin, spindly man with water whips. I like the buff Aqualad from the end of the last season when he was back in his old outfit again.
Yeah, he was like he was pretty jacked.
Yeah, I like that better. But speaking of which, just a quick question for you guys. I was wondering about this recently about how each season had like a time jump, pretty significant time jump too. And I was wondering, would it have been more interesting to see how these characters became who they were? Like, for example, season 1 to season 2, right? Like they kind of mention in passing Aqualad learning about how Black Manta was his father and how Tula died. And then this season, just to stay on the Aqualad example, Aqualad becoming Aquaman. I wonder if it would have been better to actually see all that instead of like skip over it, because that to me feels like the real juicy stuff. You know, it seems like the writers were too eager to skip ahead and introduce new characters and introduce new situations. When I don't know, I feel like we had a really solid cast in that first season, and you know, less and less of them are kind of getting the spotlight. I really would have liked to see their development all the way through, and this time skip kind of. Well, it skips a lot of that. So I don't know. I want to know what you guys thought about that real quick.
I guess I'm a little torn on it. I loved the season 1 to season 2 time jump. I thought was cool because it opened up the universe and started letting them tell the story that they clearly wanted to tell, but they needed that first season first to establish like the heart of everything and how this world operates. So I thought that was cool. This second season to third season 2-year time jump, I guess I don't know. I like the jump ahead to show that. I guess I don't know how to explain it. Jake, do you have an explanation for this? Do you like it or not?
I like it mainly because I see Young Justice not as like the story of the characters, but like the story of the battle against the light. So that's how I always felt that it was going towards, was like every time skip is just like the light's next move. And I think it showcases how the light isn't this group of villains that attacks constantly, but has these long drawn out plans in which they like where their planning through years comes to fruition and then is thwarted. So that's just how I've seen this seen the show.
I guess I like the time skips because I like seeing characters different from like one season to the next. I like to see how they've grown and evolved, because usually there's a good enough contrast to see like, wow, a lot's changed in here, and now we're dealing with this version of the character. I mean, I think it grows in kind of an organic and natural way, like people normally would when 2 years have passed. So I don't mind playing catch up. I liked how they did it, I guess, in the second season a bit more, where it's just like, Kaldor's not here, like, anymore. Like, where's Kaldor? Where's Kaldor? And then, like, episode 3 or 4, he's like, oh, Kaldor's bad. Like, oh, no. Like, what? This time, I didn't feel like the time jump was for a shock value of any sort, but it's just a natural progression of the story that they were trying to tell. And so they needed to jump ahead 2 years to explain this next phase. That's why I don't mind it.
Yeah, I'm still grappling with how I feel about it. I definitely like the time jump between season 1 and 2 better than the time jump between season 2 and 3 so far. But that might also just be because I'm not too taken with the current season overall. So maybe I'm looking for reasons as to why that is. So anyways, yeah, let's continue with the episode discussion.
So, yeah, this next part, Kaldor is reporting to Wonder Woman about a prison transport. And I really liked this story because it had a nice, I think, gag about there's these two guards, and they're transporting Brick, and they're transporting an unnamed shaggy dude who looks haggard and doesn't say anything. And these two guards, one of them's, a young guy says like, man, I'm so excited for this job. I can't believe it. And the guy's like, well, if you've been doing it as long as I have, you're going to see it's not that exciting. And just like, oh, it's one of the stereotypical guards. And, had me thinking during, man, being a guard would suck, because I'm sure you're just attacked all the time. And it's, they always die. And then what happens? Our favorite man, Sportsmaster, appears, not shouting, gotta protect my rep, which I am disappointed in. But he throws a javelin down. It flips the van. The guard's like, oh, well, they chose the wrong time or something. Cool lines. And it turns out they're not just two random guards. It is Shazam, and it is... which is this? Jay Garrick?
It's Barry Allen.
Oh, this is Barry. Duh, this is Barry Allen, and so it's the Flash and Shazam. They're the guards who've been doing it. They get in the costume. There's a big fight, but they escape with. Sportsmaster escaped with that metahuman prisoner. So then that's that storyline. So these are three separate stories going on all throughout this episode. And you think, well, these are all really random. But then we learned kind of like the twist throughout all of this is that all three of these stories are revealed to be related, where it's like all of these heroes are kind of working with Batman, that these different factions, the Outsiders, the Justice League, and then Batman Incorporated, are all they formed their own version of the Light, which is working separately but unknowingly together. What do you guys think of this reveal?
Totally unsurprising to me. I mean, what was more surprising to me was how Wonder Woman was not on board with it. How she was all like, "What have we become? We are working in the shadows now, and lying to our friends. We are the shadow. We are the anti-light." I don't know. It just seemed unreasonable to me because I guess it just makes logical sense to me. If the Justice League is all tangled up, it would make sense to. I mean, they're already vigilantes, right? Basically, they're superheroes. They work outside the law. So, pulling shady shit like this to get shit done just makes sense to me.
Well,
I don't know.
I get her side of it strictly because, like, when they're in the Justice League, they give up that vigilante justice idea. Like, they have to listen to, like, the Justice League works with, like, the UN, and that's how come Batman Incorporated basically leaves, is because they don't want to have their hands tied. They're basically being told where they can justice. And so with Wonder Woman, like, being in the public eye and everything, and just basically signing that right to do whatever they want outside of the law away, like, I get how this is bothering her. Like,
yeah, I mean, I totally get it too. So that's what I get. This whole Young Justice is really about. Like, overall, it's about your covert actions and being caught up in like a kind of like a politicalness of saving people. Like how do you operate when you really just want to help people? Do you have to fold into like a hierarchy and have an order and a structure like the Justice League, or do you have to kind of work outside of the law sometimes in order to get stuff done? I think it's been at the heart of the series since the very beginning. So like this reveal isn't surprising to me because it's totally a Young Justice thing, but I liked the setup of that it's like their own version of the Light. I like the distinct parallels that they were attempting to draw between those. Even like, all standing around in a circle, much like the Light stands around in a circle and keeping things apart from each other. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, if it was really just a bunch of like UN bureaucrats, with the, maybe they have good intentions or not, and they're the ones that were kind of tying the hands of the Justice League. I could kind of sympathize more with Wonder Woman, but isn't it Lex Luthor? Like, isn't he the biggest reason why the Justice League's hands are tied?
Well, he's the
tied? I mean,
like speaker for the UN, so he does have he's like the head of it, but he's still convincing these other world leaders to do it. So yeah, let's say you do it to spite Lex Luthor, you're still spiting the rest of the UN.
You're still spiting a system that Wonder Woman, I'm sure, because Wonder Woman is like like a pure person. She believes in what's right. She's much like Superman, which I would imagine is why Superman is not involved in the story, because I don't think he would stand for this either. Because you're not supposed to fight darkness by being even darker, by being sneakier. You're supposed to fight dark with light, and that's the debate. It's like, can you even do that? And Batman obviously thinks, no, you cannot. So he forms this team of 6, or all
seven.
these separate teams. Team of 7. Who are the leaders of this one? It's because 7, because it's really just like Vandal Savage, isn't it? That's supposed to be the parallel.
Yeah, it's Batman, Wonder Woman, Miss Martian, Oracle, Nightwing, Robin, and Superboy.
I'm surprised Superboy's in there because I don't know where he stands.
Wherever Megan goes.
Yeah, he's just like, what are you doing today? Oh, come along.
So also, it looks like Oracle, being Oracle is not necessarily a secret.
Or
is it only a secret to certain people?
I don't know what's going on with her.
That was so weird.
First she's not a robot. Next she's people know about her. No more theories on Oracle. I'm done.
Yeah. We just have to wait till, I don't know why he's just not revealing it to his team for some reason, but everybody else knows.
I think my theory still stands.
He just didn't want to complicate things.
Yeah, he just didn't want to make the conversation with Artemis complicated in that one moment.
Oracle told me this. It's just much easier that way. Yeah, I said when she appeared on screen, I was like, well, fuck. Like, none of our theory. We spent way too long debating Oracle. So that's that episode, I believe. But okay, I guess one thing I got to say about this episode is the twist of it. I felt was kind of a relatively weak-ish twist because I felt no real connection to Shade. The twist is supposed to be like the man that we saw being kidnapped from the transport,
Who looked like Jesus Christ, might I add?
who looked like Jesus Christ, was the same guy that Tech was injecting with nanites to control, and was the same guy who was breaking into the prison to steal the anti-metahuman thing device, which I'm sure will come into play later on. That whole reveal, I don't know how they could have made that better to be more impactful. It's like, really, can you guys think of another way? It would have been another villain if more time was spent with Shade. I like Shade a lot in his design and but his powers always felt like part of a group, villain dynamic where it works when he's fighting a bunch of heroes. But to have like the twist revolve around him, I don't think worked for me.
I didn't
even know it was a twist.
Yeah, I didn't see it as a twist, more as he was the storytelling device of how each story, like that's how they connected each story with Shade.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not supposed to know that was. Did you know it was the same guy who was the long hair and the guy in the chair?
Well, no, I didn't. But I mean, like, I figured that's why the stories worked. Like, I did go, oh, that was neat. That was Shade and everything, and that's how they tied all the stories together. Because at first, I just thought these are a lot of random stories that make no sense. I mean, it's kind of weird that they all are in this episode. I mean. And then when it revealed that it's Shade, I was like, oh, so there is a connection. And I like that.
Okay. Jeff, any problems with it?
Not at all. It's just kind of a minor detail, in my opinion. I didn't see it as a twist. And when it was revealed, I was like, okay, cool. I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't watch the original Justice League. And, I'm not super into comics like you guys. So Shade being in the show, didn't really care much. I don't know. Are we going to see him again, do you guys think?
I think probably because it ends with them assassinating Simon Stagg. I think he'll show up again at some point.
Yeah, maybe like
or
a
Simon Stagg.
Throwaway villain for like other things, or just like a new person to add to a rogue gallery.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a weird, dense episode of Young Justice. But there we have it. The next one is more straightforward. Home Fires.
Hold on really quick. And one thing I wanted to get off my chest with this, because I've talked about the earlier designs that I really liked, and I wanted to say I do like Spoiler's design, but am I fucking tired of Young Justice giving bad guys mutton chops? I'm just done. Riddler has it, Joker has it, Mad Hatter has it. It's
the look.
It's just too many mutton chops in one freaking show, and I'm just done.
It is a lot of mutton. I thought when we first saw Jarvis Tetch, I was like, "Is this Riddler?" I forgot what Riddler looked like in this one. But you're totally right with the mutton chops.
Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
That's fine. This is a safe space. You can rant about mutton chops all you want, but mutton chops we know in the show means bad. But Prince Brion has mutton chops.
That's another person who has mutton chops is Brion, and that's how come I thought he was evil. And when we first watched that episode, I was like, Brion's evil because he's got the mutton chops.
That is the clear indicator. They're breaking away from that. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So this next, does Lobo have mutton chops? No, he just has a beard. So the next episode is Home Fires. This one's a more straightforward episode than the episode previously. It's Lobo's is the main man himself is doing his Lobo thing of just being a walking, talking biker badass. When a robot comes to him and gives him a contract, and he's like, "Oh, mission accepted." Meanwhile, back on Earth, they're at a rock forge area, and Nightwing springs some surprise training on the group again because they need to train. Halo and Forager do pretty well in the maneuvers. Prince Brion gets an F in all categories, and he would be. That's every time the show does something where it looks like the sniper's on Prince Brion, and then all of a sudden a bullet hits near his feet. I was like, come on, there's no way the assassin would miss that. But then it reveals that it's actually not. It's Nightwing in preparation. So I was like, oh, okay, thank you, show, for changing my mind. So they're fighting. They said training is necessary. Dr. Jace gets upset for doing this to her children, which I think hints at her kind of weirdness that I think we're going to see develop in later episodes, which I don't care about, and I don't think you guys do either. And they're like, Prince Brion's like, when's surprise attacks and training ever going to come in handy, all of a sudden Lobo comes down and he absolutely kicks all their asses.
That got a chuckle out of me because I knew it was coming. I'm like, he's like, when are they going to get attacked? I'm like, so Lobo's going to attack them now.
Right now. And then he lands. What do you guys think of this version of Lobo or Lobo in general?
Seems kind of a throwaway villain whenever they need a big dude to rough up some feathers with the good guys. Because
Why not
a hit.
Lobo?
Yeah, exactly. He's just the guy. If the writers need someone to be assassinated, you bring in the assassin, of course. I think it was funny that there was a hit out on Forager until it was revealed at the end, what the real reason was. But the whole episode, I was just laughing my ass off. Like someone put a hit on this poor little bug. Like, geez.
So they're both both Lobo and Black Spider are assassins. Who would win in a fight?
Lobo. He's Superman.
And that's what I was saying. How strong is Lobo?
He can survive lava. So
he could survive everything, it seems like. I don't think nothing seemed to really hurt him.
From my understanding, he's essentially like, how Kryptonians are like Superman on Earth? Is that he's that everywhere. So he kind of is just fine. Like, he's basically a super strong being, and like that's and impervious to damage. And that's really what shocked me when Halo cuts off his finger, because I was just like, wait a minute. That's rare. Normally, you don't see that happen to Lobo.
That he dealt some damage. He dealt with it pretty much in stride. I did laugh a lot at the line. Or I did laugh at the part after his finger gets cut off and he tries to whistle and he just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Right funny. After he brutally, quote unquote, murdered Forager, they put in that little goof right after that.
Well, what I'm tired of is because Halo is the immortal character, using her all the time as the one to show some graphic violence, because you can do that to her.
I think it's kind of funny.
I'm glad they're desensitized to it.
They didn't even care. They saw her guts get pulled out of her.
I like how Jess kind of tried to protect Halo, and this was after she got stabbed and regenerated herself too. Like when Lobo was walking up to Halo, and Dr. Jess was like, "No, don't touch her." It's like, bitch, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? He just gutted somebody with a grab thing. It was crazy. I just hope they don't do that every single time, and she's the only one who always gets hurt and dead, because they're the only ones who can do that too without repercussions. I don't know, so I was a little tired of it.
I'm hoping that someone else gets hurt and they just assume it's Halo. Like Brion gets stabbed and they're like, oh, she'll recover. Oh my god, that was Brion.
Oh, it's not Halo. So Forager, sheds his exoskin. It rolls up to him. Lobo crushes him completely. I don't know if I was hoping for. I knew he wasn't actually dead, but I don't know if there was a part of me deep down that thought, I kind of wish he was. But alas, he did not, because Forager still hasn't displayed any other powers besides rolling around.
I think that's it. I think he's peaked.
He has good. I like his maneuvers with the team. I like how they're developing maneuver 16 or so, or maneuver 7. They create a lava force. He shoots up and Halo shoots him down like a bullet or something. So, I mean, that's cool. But other than that, Forager doesn't do much.
Isn't it the same of just fighting with Sphere, but instead Forager can bust out
that's
quips
true.
Every now and then?
That is true.
He's the new Spear.
Yeah, he's the new Spear, because Spear's getting old like Wolf.
Which makes me sad. We didn't mention that last episode, but Wolf's age is actually bumming me out.
All he does is sleep.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, the boy deserves some rest.
He's done a lot. So this kind of ties into the next part of the storyline. It's just it's kind of the more fun part of the episodes, where all the parents of superheroes join together in a house for a play date. And I thought that was weird, to be honest. It's kind of I get some of these characters showing up, but I don't know how good of friends they are. But it's weird that Mara showed up, and of all these people. What did you guys think of that?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I don't know. I was just gonna say, I was wondering if there was any point to this whole B plot line other than the Light showing up and being like, "Hey, we don't kill kids either."
Yeah,
so we're kind of good. We don't kill kids.
The points I think were one just to check in with a huge cast of characters that we haven't seen. We saw Bumblebee pregnant, which hopefully with Mal's baby, and hopefully Mal's not dead. We saw the kind of an interesting, I don't know if we can call it interesting development of, it seems that Will Harper has developed feelings for Tigress,
which is weird. I mean, I don't know.
I like it. I want conflict when Wally comes back, and I want it to be there. I want redhead fight because Wally's coming back. Like, he's too heavy-handed.
Yeah, he's definitely coming back. Yeah, I want it to be as soon as Tigress gives in to the sexual tension that I'm sure they have of just these two really attractive, really fit people living together for an extended period of time, raising a child. Just giving it, and as soon as it happens, that's when Wally comes back.
Like, the act of them
through the door in the middle
breaks him out of the speed.
He's just been waiting for something. He's like, I've been trying to get back because my love for Artemis, but it's not working. And he sees the he's like, anger, and he just like busts out of it.
Oh, now my undying rage will let me out of this.
Yeah. So that's that. So then it turns out there's someone watching them from across the street. And it's an assassin. It's like 12 more to go, 3 more to go. Good, they're all here. And it turns out to be Ocean Master, which was a weird person to, I think, choose to be an assassin here. I haven't seen Aquaman yet, but he's the main villain, right?
Yep, and that's what I was going to say. The business part of this in my head must have been like, we have to. Who's a villain that's going to be in fresh in DC fans' minds? Aquaman just came out. Ocean Master. And we don't want to kill Black Manta.
Yeah, he's important to the story, so it's like let's just get rid of Ocean Master. So I know you said it's like what's the point of the storyline besides the reach, but I liked that element where he's going to zap them all out of existence with a big ass trident because he's angry, and Lady Shiva shows up and says like, we obviously know who all these people are, but if we do this, that creates a disbalance, and these heroes are going to be pissed, and they might do something that we regret, and we need them right now to remain balanced. And so I liked that kind of argument of just like, we can't kill these people right away because we need them right now. So I like that. Jake, did you like it? Or did you think it was contrived?
I liked it solely because of that, like I'm sure theorists and like people who get really into Young Justice have sat there and go, like, if the Light's all knowing, why don't they just kill like their families? And so this kind of answers that with the idea of, well, if the Light, kills their kids, the Justice League is going to go full tilt on just massacring the Light. So
yeah, but this leads way to the Light and Lady Shiva, and then we see the people. The Light gathered around for, I think, the first time this season, and of course it's led by Vandal Savage and Lady Shiva, along with Cora. I forgot his name. Calivan, the wizard boy.
Oh yeah.
Deathstroke, who made it into the Light. Who that's why I still think he could be running the League of Shadows. And was that Grodd? That was Grodd, right?
Yeah, that was
or was that the
really
other?
Grodd.
Okay, I didn't know if that was Grodd or
it's not. It's what's the guy who has the big brain?
It's like humanoid or something, like something oid. Not Grodd, but I guess that one. And then who else was there? Is that all?
And
Lex
Queen
Luthor,
Bee.
of course.
Did you say Queen Bee?
Oh, Queen Bee and Lex Luthor. Those are the ones that make it up. So they're all revealed. They revealed that they sent out the hit on Forager really to just confirm that Nightwing had assembled a new team, and which they see as a potential threat. Oh, and because it's Granny Goodness comes up from before, and we know that she's. Yeah, I was happy about that. That she arrived and she was the one behind the glasses that are probably going to come into play later on. And with that, these 3 episodes are done. Woohoo!
You don't sound too excited there, Coby.
No, I actually am, because I think I don't know how you guys feel about it. It might be a little less than let down, but I've loved all 3 of these episodes. I have criticisms about them, but I'm still just like that we have a show like this on the air. I think it might swing for the fences sometime and like fail in terms of how it handles like a really dense plot or some jokes that don't land or like silliness outweighing the darkness. But I like that what they're trying to do, and in my opinion, most of the time they succeed. So I dug these 3 episodes. We got a Vandal Savage episode starting out on high. We got a really dense episode, which was pretty cool, and then we just got a kind of a fight episode, which I mean was solid. So I'm a happy camper.
I agree. I'll say this. I thought the last 3 episodes that we watched kind of were losing me, but I felt like I was right back into it in this. And I think that is because they are used of that huge cast that we got, like from these 3 seasons, like built together, instead of just focusing on like the new people. Yeah, we need to like focus on them to develop them, but it's nice to take a break from them and see what other characters that we've gotten to know are up to.
I guess I'm the only detractor in this sense. I don't know. I was not a big fan of these past 3 episodes, and I think it's for probably the same reason you stated for liking the episode, Jake. Bringing back this giant cast of characters. I don't know. I kind of preferred the more focused storytelling from season 1 and season 2. I don't, but at the same time, I don't know if I would have preferred focusing on the new team because, I don't really care about the new team either. I'm not a fan of Geoforce, Halo, or Forager, and I'm not sure if I will be at this point. I'm hoping to be sold on them soon, but, these past 3 episodes didn't seem like they flowed well to me. There was, at least to me, not a clear arc, I guess, as the other 3 episode segments were. So they felt a bit disjointed. And within the episodes too, the way they told the stories and the pacing of them was a bit strange to me. In particular, the first 2 of this 3-part series, with the first one juxtaposing Vandal Savage's story with the new team training, and the second one with telling the 3 disparate stories and then wrapping them all up into a nice little ball at the end. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of either of those. And then the last episode was just kind of whatever. So I'm kind of getting lost on this series, honestly. I'm really happy that Young Justice Season 3 is back. I just, for me personally, lament that it doesn't feel cohesive yet. Like it's not clicking. I'm not, it doesn't have its hooks in me yet. So I'm a bit disappointed so far.
Yeah, it hasn't been that moment for you. It's really been like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah, it hasn't grabbed me.
Okay.
But I'm hoping it gets there. I mean, we're 9 episodes in, and so how long is this season going to be?
It's going to be like 20, it's like 6 episodes.
26.
But next week, I think, is all the 4 episodes are 4 episodes are dropping. 10, 11, 12, 13. And then like part 2 airs in June 2019. So I don't know if they're going to wrap up whatever this arc is, but I don't know if you can really even call it an arc because nothing's really been established besides this Outsiders team, or if they're going to leave it on a big cliffhanger. Maybe part 2 they'll jump ahead in time like 25 years just because.
Glad we wrapped up that stuff with the metahuman trafficking.
This isn't the story we wanted to tell.
We really wanted to talk about Damian Wayne.
Damian Wayne. Yeah.
But yeah, we're nearly halfway through the season, and it has yet to really impress me thus far, and that's what I'm worried about. So,
now, Jeff,
would you watch it if we weren't doing a review on it?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I was that guy, dude. I was that guy replaying Netflix Young Justice over and over again to let them know, hey, these people, they want a season 3. I wanted the season 3, so I'm gonna watch it. Damn it.
So my question, Jeff, is do you think that because you had this huge want for it, that it's maybe just not living up to like a really high expectation you had set for it?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. As with all things, with the longer the anticipation, the higher the expectation. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, even without that, though, I just think even objectively, and I know it's hard to speak about TV shows and movies objectively, but I do think in terms of the quality of the storytelling and the character development, it is not as good as season 1 or season 2. And if it was at least on par or close, I would be happy so far. But So far, it's not. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
I wonder if the story would change at all if we could binge watch if it released everything at once. So we can so we're not grading these on 3-episode chunks, but like you'd be watching them more as we'd watch pretty much this season in probably like 2 sittings, or at least these first 13 episodes in 2 sittings or so. So you get a full idea of the story. I wonder if that's more beneficial, depending on how these last 4 episodes wrap up. If that would ultimately be better for likability for certain people. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's just kind of like when you watch an episode, like a regular release schedule would be like an episode a week. And instead we're getting 3 episodes a week. So I don't know how different it would be if it was all in one sitting in terms of like liking the show, because I am basing my opinion off of the most recent thing that I've watched. Which then, if you translate that to watching the whole show at the same time, or not the same time, but like, watching all the episodes and binging it, then my impression would be based off of the last few episodes of that binge,
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same. I think it would be relatively the same.
Okay. Well, I think that hit about an hour here. I think, Jake, do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to say, or it's nothing that's been said before?
I want to say, because, every video so far I've come up with some crazy theory that's been proven incorrect. I want to be proven incorrect with this theory. I think that machine, that the whole, that machine what was the guy that got killed in the second episode?
Simon Stagg.
That Simon Stagg was going to hide in his meta shelter.
Yeah.
It was on its way to Dr. Stone, and it was kind of sparking. So I think that's going to malfunction, and we're going to get Cyborg at the end of the season.
Do you think we need him though?
No, but I just think it sets it up for the next time skip.
It's been 5 years.
Cyborg is the thing.
I've been a cyborg for 5 years now.
For 5
and
years.
Robin is 5 years old.
All right, Jeff, do you have any crazy theories you want to end off on?
I think Forager is going to grow a new shell.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy. Actually, no. In the time skip, he'll grow a new shell. The rest of this, the next 4 episodes, he'll be naked the whole time.
Gross.
It's crazy. Okay, my crazy theory is, who did we talk about? Wally. My theory is about Wally. We all think Wally's coming back. Wally's going to come back as a bad guy. Wally's going to be evil, and he's going to be a soldier in Darkseid's army. Boom. That is my theory. That he's actually back. My theory is that he's actually already back.
Is he going to be evil because Artemis and Will are going to hook up?
He saw that in the Speed Force. He saw that. So it was in the future. Then he came out of the Speed Force angry from it, and he turned. But he came out in the past, right? And Darkseid picked him up, and he's evil. And then Darkseid manipulates him even more, and he's a bad guy. That's my theory.
That would actually be kind of cool. I don't know.
That's
evil with Wally.
That's just a theory.
That's just, or is it?
A young justice theory.
That's not even a cool.
Let's just this out of this.
Let's just this out of it. Thank you very much for listening to us. You found this on Nerd Blaze. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave a comment, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, and Jake's on Anime Dumpster Dive.
Yep.
Go check him out. Bye.